This is from USA Today. This isn't trivial. Applying for welfare benefits is too difficult, low-income Americans say.
Low-income Americans are struggling to obtain help from state governments when they most need it, facing long delays and sometimes insurmountable hurdles when applying for social safety net programs such as food assistance, welfare benefits, Social Security, and health insurance, according to a new report. The findings come as poverty rates, while nowhere near historic highs, have climbed in part because of the COVID-19 pandemic and ensuing financial crisis. Social safety nets, such as the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program or SNAP, help keep tens of millions of people out of poverty each year, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. But people must provide many personal documents, complete lengthy, confusing applications correctly, prove they're eligible, and regularly update their information. The report from the Urban Institute found most single adults earning up to $51,520 and most families with one child earning up to $87,840 applied for or received a social safety net program in 2021. The report, which is based on a survey in December 2021, analyzed a nationally representative sample of more than 5,000 adults ages 18 to 64, making below 4 times the federal poverty level. Decades-old U.S. poverty level formula makes no sense in 2022. Respondents said they had the most problems enrolling for unemployment insurance, SNAP, and temporary assistance for needy families, known as TANF, or more commonly as welfare benefits. More than 40% of people who applied for or received one of the programs said they had trouble proving eligibility or getting benefits when they needed them. We're not talking about 4 in 10 people reporting difficulty enrolling in their yoga class, said Marla McDaniel, a senior fellow at the Urban Institute and lead author of the report. We're talking about food for their families. This isn't trivial what people are seeking. Social safety net programs are supposed to help eligible people who often face great financial instability. But a high percentage of people who sought benefits told researchers they did not receive help as soon as they needed it. The finding that more than 4 in 10 people who sought help meeting basic needs faced problems is quite disconcerting. The report's other finding, that 55% of surveyed adults sought benefits, shows how much people are hurting, said Luke Schaefer, a leading expert on social safety nets and professor at the University of Michigan. The best indicator we have of whether or not families are struggling to make ends meet is when they seek out help, he said. SNAP and Medicaid Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP, are 2 of the largest government safety nets, according to the report. Among adults surveyed, 39% applied for Medicaid or CHIP and 29% applied for SNAP in 2021. Medicaid CHIP was associated with lower levels of enrollment problems. That could be because the Affordable Care Act of 2010 and the Children's Health Insurance Program Reauthorization Act of 2009 worked to streamline access and eliminate certain requirements, the report says. In the survey, respondents regularly expressed confusion about why they were denied SNAP dollars. SNAP beneficiaries can also be afraid of making mistakes on their paperwork because providing false income information can result in staggering fines and lengthy jail sentences, according to the report. I won't even apply for food stamps or Medicaid because I'm scared that they may say they overcharge me, said one survey respondent who had to pay back SNAP dollars after being overpaid. You have to pay this back, or we're going to lock you up for this. This is how I feel about them, and it's scary. It's easy for recipients to feel harassed because they have to jump through so many hoops just to get money for basic needs. In a statement to USA Today, the Department of Agriculture said it remains committed to looking for ways to remove barriers to access and make it easier for anyone who qualifies for federal food assistance to get the support they need, regardless of their background. Latino adults were more likely than white and Black adults to report enrollment difficulties with Medicaid, CHIP, and SNAP, probably because of language barriers and different eligibility rules for non-citizens, McDaniel said. Yeah, I like how we single out Mexicans, like, oh, you don't belong here, so that's why it's harder for you. Well, maybe we should do something about our citizenship, because if they're here, they're
when you hate your family.
I'm just saying, like, that sounds like some hardcore, like, racist shit right there.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, I don't know how else to say it.
Racism is baked into the American cake.
One way or another. Adults with disabilities were also more likely than those without disabilities to report that Medicaid CHIP program staff never or only sometimes treated them with courtesy or respect, and to report not getting Medicaid CHIP benefits as soon as they needed. And that's all basically baked into the cake. They make it harder on purpose. They spread misinformation on purpose. They fearmonger on purpose. So people who need assistance either won't apply or will have so much trouble applying, they give up.
Sorry, personal time.
Yeah, personal time. A week and a half ago, I got injured. Not really sure what's wrong with me still. Went to the doctor, went to the ER, they've done testing, but now the doctor that's supposed to call me back with results, let's just say I'm not going to be speaking to them anytime soon. So in this meantime, I'm not able to work. Not sure if it's able to be even really seen at the moment, but I can't really sit down for long periods of time. It's something wrong with my leg, with my sciatic nerve. I'm not really sure. But that's why we're standing, and that's why we've been standing. And I keep shifting my weight and moving around. And in that meantime, since I've been off work, I am, trying to do, with my work, I have to do FMLA at the meantime, which is unpaid. So I'm trying for some kind of short-term disability until I can figure out what's wrong and go back to work, even if it's shortening my hours, just anything. In getting the short-term disability with my work, there's some paperwork that has to be filled out so that it can be submitted and approved to the company that handles my short-term disability through my work. So I reached out through, my portal, as most people have experience with. You aren't really able to call and speak with your doctor directly. I have heard this a lot, throughout my years. It's just something that people have to use the portal to have contact with their doctor. So using the portal, I did submit the documentation to my doctor. I let them know what's going on. And so they decided to schedule me, told me they had to schedule me for a phone interview conversation to fill out the paperwork for my disability. I've been off work for about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. My appointment for over the phone is August 2nd.
Rent's due on the 1st.
Rent was due on
Rent
the 1st.
was due last month. Yeah.
Rent was due July 1st. Rent's due August 1st. Electric's due. A lot of stuff due right now. Reached out to the state because I don't know what else to do. What else do you do? They're supposed to help you, right? So I was able to get SNAP, which is wonderful, but unfortunately, I waited too long or they waited too long, but the card's not going to get here in time. We got approved, but I don't know how to iterate. Like, when you have 2 small children and 2 adults, there's 4 of us in the household, minus, the freaking dog. Is $200? Is that even, I'm grateful.
Prices now.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for being approved, but is that really going to help as much as as much as we really need it?
They haven't updated their numbers for inflation, and they haven't adjusted for the prices of groceries now.
I can't apply for WIC unless I go in and take the kids in. I'm hurt. I can't even sit in a car for extended periods without just being in ungodly pain and just moving and shifting, and I have to get out of the vehicle to stand up, walk around, just anything. So we got SNAP. Yes, I work a full-time job, and then some. We have health insurance. We have a high deductible plan. We have a deaf child. We have medical debt. When I went in for one of my testing for my CT scan, while mentioning the insurance and having the high deductible plan, as soon as I walked in the door, they told me that it was going to cost me $2,000 up front just to have a CT scan, just to try to find out what's wrong with me, just so I can go back to work. I'm just trying to go back to work, guys. I'm just trying to go back to work. Understand that. I work 40 hours plus overtime sometimes. I'm literally trying to go back to work. I'm not trying to sit on my ass. Understand this. Understand that people apply for these benefits not because they're trying to sit on their ass. They need fucking help. They approved us for the medical. That's great. I went to go get my prescriptions. They tried to run my medical card, and they said something's wrong with Medicaid because I'm not being brought up in the system as being actively enrolled at this time, and he's coming up as not even being in the system, period. What? Tried to apply for the TANF, the temporary cash assistance. And I turned it down. And the reason that I turned down going further into it, the primary reason, I wanted to delve deeply into my bank account, my personal history, my sexual history, if I'm being abused, if he's being abused, his sexual history. I need to pee in a cup. Am I doing any type of drugs? I'm only doing the drugs you prescribe me. That's the only drugs I've ever done because I try to do everything legally. I'm trying to do everything correctly. I'm trying to get help with my pain. I'm trying to go back to work. I'm trying to get help in the temporary time that I'm off work. And I turned to my family for help. There was conditions with it that are just conditions that are things that I have to think so deeply and long about that I can't give you an answer in a day, in 2 days, in 3 days, but I need your help now. But it's conditional, so all right, I'm not going to rely on you.
Our families have their own problems.
They do. Every family has their own problems, and I do understand that. But if you just said you couldn't help me at this time, that's different than swearing that you would do everything and anything to help me, and then tell me that your love and your help is conditional. It's different if you're like, hey, I can't do that right now. Okay, dude, I get it. I'm struggling. We're all struggling. I get it. If you can't help me right now, you can't help me right now. Just tell me. Just tell me, because I have to figure something out, because we have bills due. They're not due yesterday. They're not due a week from now. Rent was due July 1st. What day is it today? Rent is due August 1st. What am I supposed to do? So, okay, there's a program for renter's assistance through the state. Great. I will apply for renter's assistance. I will apply for the energy assistance, because don't get me started on electric bills, but around here, they just jack up the price because they know that you can't go with anyone else. So
Monopoly.
It's way, way, way overpriced. It's ridiculous.
So is our internet.
Yeah, but I have to have that to work, so there's no choice, which my work also
Dropped as a benefit.
started paying. They initially paid for our internet connection, but then dropped that as a benefit, so now I have to pay for that out of pocket, which also takes away part of my benefits of having to, I used to not have a dress code, but now I have to be on camera occasionally, so now I have to spend money on makeup, on my hair, on my clothes, which understand that...
Hold on. A dress code...
For a remote worker. Let's not clarify what I do, just remote worker.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. I'm just a dress code for remote work.
One of the reasons I went to remote work, also understand that, is because I have, that I know of, fibromyalgia and endometriosis. And if you don't know exactly what those are, let me just summarize this with, I am always tired and I am always in pain. There's some mornings I wake up, I feel like I got hit by a truck, and it's everything I can just to get out of bed. And then all day I'm just struggling with the fatigue and the pain, but I'm there and I'm doing what I have to do, because that's what we all do. We all do what we have to do because we're trying to survive, but I want to live.
Rise and grind.
To go back to the energy assistance and the renter's assistance. So the energy assistance, when I tried to apply for that, it ended on July 14th. And if you check the current date, I did attempt 2 days after the cutoff date. So I can't get any kind of assistance with any of those bills. All right, so rough. Switch to renters. Let's switch to the renters so I can get, I can keep a roof over my kid's head. That's what we're all trying to do. We're trying to keep a roof over our kid's head. As soon as I got in there, it told me that there was no appointments available for this month. So I kept scrolling through, and when I got to March 2025, I gave up. Because come March 2025, I'm either not going to have a place to live, or I'm already going to have it figured out on my own. And it's not fair, because I'm trying everything I can to apply for all these benefits, and I'm getting nothing. March of 2025, I stopped looking. I gave up. Do you understand?
Yeah, that's what they expect you to do. Well, I've been diagnosed with schizophrenia for 15 years. The official diagnosis was bipolar type 1 with schizoaffective disorder. I'm what you call a high-functioning schizophrenic. I see things that aren't real. I hear things that aren't real. Mania, paranoia, anxiety. I can't work because I can't trust what I hear or see. It's a degenerative disease, psychosis syndrome. I've been applying for disability since May 2023. I often wonder about two things a lot. One being if I have any value or worth in this society, and two, what kind of privilege someone really has waiting this long on some kind of income to help my family. Amount of support I feel in the amount of time it's taken, and the amount and the treatment that they have The way they've treated my wife has filled me with rage and hopelessness.